Snow kept falling over Eldermere, a modern European-American hybrid city of steel bridges, glowing trams, and glass offices. Christmas lights shimmered across the wide streets, blinking like small promises people made to themselves but rarely kept. Nora Hale, 34, wrapped her coat tighter as she hurried down the sidewalk. She looked like someone who moved fast so life wouldn't catch her. Inside her chest, a storm. Another Christmas alone, she thought. Another season pretending the noise of the city is enough to fill the empty rooms of my apartment. Her phone buzzed. Mia, text, you coming for Thanksgiving dinner at least? We miss you. Nora, maybe. She didn't press send. The truth was simple and sharp. She hadn't been home in 6 years, not since the fight with her younger sister, Emily. Not since she'd walked out of her parents' house with a suitcase and more pride than wisdom. She passed a Christmas market where families laughed around warm cider and gingerbread. She paused. How long will you stand outside your own life, Nora? But she kept walking. The old stone bridge crossing Eldermere River was soaked in golden fairy lights. Nora always crossed it after work, usually with her earbuds in and emotions off. Tonight something broke the pattern. A man, middle-aged, wearing a faded red scarf, leaned against the railing, staring at the water with a stillness that looked dangerous. She slowed. He looks lost. The way I've been all year. Excuse me, she said softly. Are you all right? He blinked, startled. Yeah. Just thinking. But his voice trembled. Nora stepped beside him. It's a cold night to think alone. A long pause. It's my first Christmas without my wife, he finally said. I don't know how to show up for the season. Or for my son. Nora swallowed hard. Loss recognizes loss. I'm sorry, she whispered. But you're not as alone as you think. He smiled faintly. You don't even know me. Maybe not. But loneliness has a very familiar shape. For a moment, they just stood there, strangers sharing the weight of something too large for either of them to name. Thank you, he murmured. Then he walked away. Nora stayed on the bridge, the cold wind biting her cheeks. If a stranger can face his pain, why can't I? Back home, Nora opened a dusty box under her bed. Inside was a handwritten letter, edges worn. Please come back for Christmas. We love you. Mom. She had ignored it every year. But tonight, something shifted. Maybe the city lights weren't enough anymore. Maybe the silence wasn't safety, it was surrender. She picked up her phone. This time, she typed. Mom, can I come home this Christmas? 3 dots appeared instantly. Yes. Please. Your room is ready. A tear slipped down her cheek. For the first time in years, she wanted to hope. Part 4, The Train Home. The train to the suburbs hummed with carols and chatter. Children wore Santa hats. Couples leaned on each other warmly. Nora pressed her forehead to the window, watching frost form delicate patterns. Will they forgive me? Will Emily even look at me? Her chest tightened. When she stepped off the train, the air smelled like pine trees and fireplaces. Her mother was waiting at the station, older, softer around the edges, eyes shining with unshed tears. Nora, she breathed. Nora whispered, Mom. And suddenly she was wrapped in the kind of hug that shrinks time, melting 6 winters into one warm moment. But not everything was melted. Dad hugged her gently. But Emily wasn't there. She doesn't want to see me, Nora thought bitterly. The next evening was Christmas Eve dinner. Nora entered the dining room, hands trembling. And then Emily walked in, her face unreadable. A silence like glass filled the room. Emily finally spoke. You left when I needed you, she said quietly. You didn't even call. Nora's throat tightened. I know. I thought distance would fix things. I thought I was protecting myself. And what about us? Emily's voice cracked. What about your family? Nora's eyes burned. I was wrong. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Emily blinked, fighting tears. You hurt me. I hurt myself too, Nora whispered. Please, let me fix it. Minutes passed like years. Then Emily stepped forward and hugged her, tight, trembling, real. Mom cried. Dad looked away to hide his tears. The house felt warm again. Maybe forgiveness was simply another kind of home. Nora woke to the sound of soft laughter and the smell of cinnamon rolls. Snow fell outside like confetti from the sky. Her family sat by the fireplace, opening gifts, talking about childhood memories. And for the first time in 6 years, she belonged. Later, she stepped outside to breathe the cold morning air. On the street, she saw the man from the bridge, the one with the red scarf, walking with a little boy holding his hand. He spotted her and smiled. I'm doing better, he called out. Thanks to a stranger who didn't walk past. Nora smiled back. I'm glad. The boy waved. Nora waved back. And just like that, a small miracle happened. The world felt kind. The season felt new. And Nora Hale, who once believed Christmas was nothing more than noise and lights, felt her heart thaw, slowly, warmly, into a season of forgiveness. In every city, under every glowing window, someone is learning how to come home again. Sometimes the journey begins on a bridge. Sometimes with a letter. And sometimes, with the courage to whisper I'm sorry. May this season bring you back to the places you thought you'd lost. To the people who waited longer than you knew. And to the parts of yourself that learned how to hope again. Fade out. Snow falls gently. Music swells.